Hello, hello, good afternoon. Welcome, Charlene and Pauline, to my YouTube channel.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us, Simone.
Not at all, not at all. So my YouTube channel I've called the ESCIE channel. ESCIE, which is acronym ESCIE, for empowering, sharing, connecting, informing, and engaging. And when I started to use my YouTube channel in earnest about 2 years ago, I decided to share my story about my battles with my health, which I went through a few years back. And because Simone isn't just about health, I thought I'd also like to use the platform to talk about other topics of interest, things that hopefully will be a blessing to other people. And that's what brings us rather nicely and neatly onto today's topic, which is about the Navigating Life Anthology series, of which Charlene, Pauline, and myself are 3 of the 29 phenomenal all-female authors. The Navigating Life Anthology series was born out of Evolve, which is part of the women's ministry at my church, ICANN Community Church. And it's spearheaded by the amazing Claudine Reed, who had an idea one day to go from discussing all things pandemic related and tools and strategies that, we can employ to get through this difficult period, to actually writing about it. And she invited us to, share our stories, to become book authors, and to become part of this amazing anthology series. And it is my absolute honor to have both Charlene and Pauline join me today for us to share a little bit about how that whole journey started, how it came about, and of course to remind all of you about the anthology launch, which is on the 31st of July at 10 a.m. And of course, if you want to buy books, information about all of those will be circulated. So keep a lookout, keep your eyes peeled. But in the meantime, we're going to go straight into learning about our lovely ladies who have joined us on this platform today. So over to you, Charlene. If you could tell us just a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Charlene Brown. I work primarily with young people who commit offences and have a substance issue related problem. And I've been doing that for several years. Outside of that, I write, and I've written for a number of years. I've just relaunched my first book, which is called What If? Lifting the Lid Off Your Limitations. And I'm also in the process of writing my second book, which is called Courage to Be Me. So I'm busy doing that, and I also have a third book on the back burner as well.
Amazing, busy woman. And what about you, Pauline? Can you tell us a little bit about who Pauline is and what you do?
Yes, certainly. So currently I lead and manage an award-winning student wellbeing service at the university here in London, and providing, a lot of support for students that have mental health, wellbeing issues, difficulties, and students that come to the university with various disabilities as well. So as you can imagine, in the time of the pandemic, mental health and wellbeing issues have been on the increase. So my team provides support to students to ensure that they are able to access their studies and achieve their goals at the end. A role that I've been thrilled to be in for a number of years, going into nine years actually. It's gone by really quickly. My previous career was as a human resource management consultant, and working with staff, developing teams and managers to get the best really out of themselves and of the team as well. And again, as you can see, my background is all about people development, trying to support people to achieve their goals. I also own my own business, a personal and professional development consultancy, where I provide coaching and mentoring for my clients. It's called Mcfarlane and Associates. I'm also a mum of 3 adorable, great, fantastic, amazing 3 adult children, and I have 2, soon to be 3, lovely, adorable grandchildren as well. Fantastic. So busy at the moment.
Definitely. So When the announcement was made, the Navigating Life Anthology series, and for women to come forward if they wanted to share their story and write, become a contributing book author, what inspired you, Pauline, to actually get involved?
Well, I've always had this voice inside from a very early age to write. I should have been writing for many, many years. So this opportunity came, and there was just no way I was going to let it pass. I just thought, well, I'm going to go for it now. If ever I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now. So I really didn't hesitate about it. I just signed up immediately because I thought that this is going to start me on my journey, my writing journey. And so, yes, it was just a fantastic opportunity. And I'm so pleased I grasped it and went for it.
Brilliant. I think that the old adage springs to mind, success, which is a combination of preparation meeting opportunity. So obviously there was some incubating going on there, and once the opportunity presented itself, the rest is history, as they say.
Definitely, yeah.
Charlene, what about yourself? I mean, what actually inspired you to want to contribute to the anthology series?
I'm quite the opposite to Pauline. I think when the opportunity was first presented, I was very hesitant and did want to write my story. I write anyway, but it was having to delve into my personal story, and I wasn't sure that I wanted everybody to know that. But then when I thought about it a secondary time, I thought, you know what, Charlene, this is an opportunity that is presented to you, which may not come your way again. And so I just thought, Charlene, just seize the opportunity with both hands and just say yes. And I said yes. So here I am.
Good. Amazing. Opportunity comes but once, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing worse than living in regrets, looking back and saying, I wish I had.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What did you find particularly challenging about that, starting that journey, Charlene?
I think for me, as I said before, I write anyway, but I think for me the difficulty was just writing about some deep-seated hurts that I had encountered, and it was just transforming that on, or translating on that on paper really. For me, it was trying to be authentic and just to keep certain names anonymous. I think that was the greatest challenge for me, just not wanting to expose the identity of certain characters. That was the most thing that I struggled with.
That is a bit tricky, actually, because, yeah, on the one hand, if this is intensely personal, private information, you want to keep that out of the public domain. Yeah. But you're trying to keep the story authentic as well. So striking that balance can be a bit tricky. I hear you on that one, definitely. How about you, Pauline? Was there anything that you found particularly challenging when you started writing?
Yes, the challenge I came across was I knew what I wanted to write, and I immediately started to write. It just kind of flowed. And I thought, oh, this is good. It just came tumbling out. And then suddenly it stopped.
Oh, no.
And I realized for the first time that this must be what they call writer's block. So whenever I sat down to try and write some more, it just wouldn't come. I became quite anxious, a bit worried, thinking, well, I'm not going to finish this story because it just seems to have come to an end. I can't seem to find the words. And I worried a bit and fretted a bit about it because I knew we had a time frame to do this, to produce our story. And in the end, I just thought I'll just leave it, not worry about it anymore, and got on with my life. And then suddenly, one day, I just started to get the inspiration. The words just started to come again. The thoughts, the ideas, the images just started to download again. And I just started to flow in the writing again. So I realized that not to fret when I come to the end of that particular piece and just leave it, let it be, it will come back. It's like an energy. It kind of flows through me. It felt like an energy flowing through me onto paper, and then it was out, leave it alone, get on with your life, and then it'll come back up again. So that, I kind of embraced that kind of flow to the writing.
That's what I love, you know, the fact that, and it's that learning process as well. As you're going through this, you're learning about yourself and how you you deal with moments like that can make you anxious, fearful, doubtful, and what have you. And instinctively, you just knew to not worry too much. Yes, you got a little bit anxious, but there was no point dwelling on that. You just got on with life. And of course, once the energy was time to rise again, the energy started to rise again and you started to flow. Amazing.
It's amazing.
Wow. So we've alluded to the story, Pauline. Are you able to give us maybe just a little snippet just to tease our viewers about your story?
Yes, I can read just a small section of it, and it's really centered around a health issue and grief and loss. And these are just some of my thoughts as I was going through my challenges. So here we go. Every fiber of my being silently screamed out, my mother has died. Same with my father. And my siblings are now scattered. No glue to hold us together anymore. Yet to those around me, it is as if I remained untouched. No care required there, I imagine their thought.
Oh, that definitely was a bit of a cliffhanger, Pauline.
You'll have to buy the book.
If you want to
read the rest.
Sure. We all know, those of us who've been through it, losing a parent or even two, how traumatic that can be. So my heart goes out to you, you know, and it's good to see how you've navigated, possibly come out of that valley to the point where you're now able to write about it. Yeah, that's amazing. Charlene, how about you? Are you able to perhaps divulge just a little bit about your story, just to suitably tantalize our viewers?
My story was really centered around when I was in my 20s and raised in church, and I engaged in a relationship that I shouldn't really have, which took me on a journey that I had no idea was going to position me where it did, to the point where I buried myself under rubble that I then, many years later, was able to come through and out onto the other side. But it was a very dark place, a very dark journey that I didn't see how I was going to come through on the other side of. But yeah, that was my story. But thank God I'm here to write about it. Amen. And to talk about it.
Hallelujah. So, I mean, here you are. You've clearly made your way from that negative, dark point in your life where, you know, you were with certain individuals, a young man in this instance, knowing that that was not necessarily the right type of energy you needed to be surrounding yourself with. But you've made it from there to the point where you are now an ambassador of hope, Charlene. I mean, what message would you give to viewers and readers out there looking at your story?
I think for me, I've grown up being this really shy girl, not wanting to share, hiding away. Nobody's going to want to listen to Charlene because she has nothing interesting to say anyway. And I believe that. And so for me, I would encourage any woman to write their story. I think we all have stories to share, which will encourage and inspire other people. I believe that we have one of two choices. We can either hold on to our stories, which I believe will hold us in a place of bondage, or we can release the story, setting ourselves free and releasing other people.
Amen. I love that. And it's understanding that in a way, it's almost a quid pro quo. So no man is an island. I always say, you know, we're here on this earth to help and support each other. And knowing that, you know, when you give a little, you take a little, and vice versa. It's reciprocal. We're here to help. We're here to encourage and get us all from that one step to the next, right? And that's what story sharing is about, really.
Yeah.
So that's really encouraging. What about you, Pauline? Is there, I mean, you've come from that deep pain, you know, losing, and you've managed to somehow navigate to the point where you're now an ambassador of hope. How does that make you feel, and what's the message that you want to share with your readers?
Well, I feel absolutely privileged and honored to be an ambassador of hope. And it wasn't something I would have ever thought would have been my calling. Certainly being in the valley of my challenges, my health challenges, going through the grief in the morning, it would never have been something that would have been on the horizon for myself. I think for me, the message I would want to share is that, you know, we need to validate our experiences, know that there is value in the valley, and knowing that and understanding that will help us to be able to share, encourage ourselves to share what we've been through. A bit like Charlene, and I've been quiet, very shy, not asking, reaching out for help or support, not sharing the pain that I was going through. And it does leave you in that sense of, as Charlene described it, to bondage. And I think we do need to be free. We need to feel free. We need to feel able to support and share our information. I think these books will go some way, I hope, to bless the readers, that they will be inspired, empowered, uplifted from some of the stories, some of the challenges that we've been through, that it will resonate with the readers. And I'm sure that, you know, it will help to strengthen our resolve so that we can actually be quite resilient and go forward, especially in these times as well. So for me, it's about not giving up hope. There is always hope. There's always light at the end of, you know, that dark tunnel.
I love the way you so beautifully put it there. There's value in the valley.
Yeah.
That really resonated with me, Pauline. And again, it's, you know, because similarly, I've been in a position where I've lost a parent, my dad, and I've been in an equally dark place where my health was not great, being hospitalized, not being able to work, and, you know, being affected spiritually, physically, mentally, all of those things. But then you juxtapose that against my background, which was not to talk about your business. And I think a lot of us suffer with that, which is that it's not the done thing to divulge your personal affairs. You know, why would you want to be sharing your story? So I always struggled with that. You know, you struggle with the actual struggle, and then you get to the point where you feel like you need to open up and be transparent, be vulnerable even, but it doesn't come easy. So, you know, I totally applaud you women to have managed to pick yourselves up from that dark spot is one thing. Pick yourself up, dust yourself down. Getting on with life is a challenge enough. To then take it one step further and to say you're going to actually write a story about it, that is, yeah, fair dues. That's just absolutely amazing. It really is. I mean, Charlene, at the time when you were going through these difficulties and you were involved with this man and life was tough, if anyone had said to you at that point that there will come a time where you will be sharing your story, you know, not just with a close friend, a buddy over coffee, with the world, what would you have said to them?
I would have said absolutely not. There is no way that I would have put my story out there for the whole public to see and read. I would absolutely say no. I mean, I think in that dark place of my life, I didn't know that I was going to come out the other side. To be honest, I was just buried, and you know, there's so much pain and trauma that I went through that I didn't talk about. So to be able to come through and to be sat here talking to you and is just an incredible is incredible, really.
Amazing. Wow. Pauline, similar question. I mean, dark times, losing parents, health failing, etc., etc. At that time, in the depths of your despair, if anyone had said you'd be sharing your story with the entire world, what would you have said?
Absolutely not. I mean, I was living from one moment to the next moment, not knowing what was causing my health issue, not being able to move, being in a lot of pain, and not knowing what the next day, next week, next month would look like for me. A very, very scary and dark place. So I wasn't even thinking about anything else except to survive each day and to try and figure this out and to find out how I'm going to get myself back onto an even keel to heal and to be able to get on with my life. So writing a story, I would never have thought while I was laying there in that pain that actually I would be writing about it. It's just amazing. It's just kind of a testament to how God works through us as well. That, you know, as I said, there's the value in going through challenges and actually being able to use that to help and inform, empower and support and give hope to others. I think is just the greatest gift that can come from a challenge, certainly a challenge such as mine.
Definitely. Amazing. I mean, there's bound to be other people out there who similarly have gone through valleys, and they may not necessarily see that value in the valley. They get a sense that they have a story they want to share, but you know, we allow ourselves to get around in our own ways sometimes. You know, we allow ourselves to listen to the naysayers, to the negativity, and talk ourselves out of being open and sharing. If there was one person out there, Pauline, who you could encourage, say to them, you know, you have a story, it's valid, what would you say?
Go for it. Say yes, and then figure it out afterwards. Everyone's got a story. There is a story that needs to be told. There's a story that needs to be put out there to bless others who may be faced with similar challenges. And just having the guidance from someone else's experience is going to be absolutely invaluable. So I would say go for it. It's not about you as an author or me as an author. It's about what you will be producing and how that is going to bless the world. So what bigger gift can bring or leave in the world?
Absolutely. It's like a legacy, isn't it?
It's a legacy, yeah.
Yeah. Charlene, I mean, I can only imagine relationship not going quite the way you wanted it to. You've talked about feeling ashamed, embarrassed, and all of these things. We can get plagued and, you know, literally bogged down by those emotions. How would you encourage somebody to find a value in the story nevertheless? What would you say to them?
I would just say to open up and share. I think we all have different stories. We all have different experiences. We've all gone through situations that have been traumatic for us. You know, there's not stories that we would have handwritten ourselves and would have wanted ourselves to go through particular journeys, but we've gone through them nevertheless. And I just think that in opening up, you know, I think for me, I believe that nobody would have wanted to hear Charlene's story. Her story was going to be unbelievable. And so it's many years later now that I've started to share. And even when I've shared snippets of my story, people have been encouraged or inspired, or similar aspects of my story have resonated with them. And I just think that when we open up and we share our stories, that we can encourage and bless and inspire other people. So I would encourage anybody just to share.
Definitely. I'm hearing the theme loud and clear. There is strength in the suffering.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, yeah, personally speaking, of course, at the time, it's virtually impossible to see it. But thank God, with hindsight and, you know, whatever else, whatever tools we need to use, strategies that we need to employ, we're able to look back and think, well, actually, you know what? Let that pain not have gone in vain. And if there's something that somebody can glean, can take away from our lessons, from our experiences, then I almost see it as incumbent upon me now. You know, when I started my YouTube channel, I said, and I started to talk about some of the challenges that I went through with my health. Nothing gives me greater satisfaction than when I'm engaging with women who also are going through similar situations. And I'm able to say, well, you know, this was what I tried. This is what worked for me. And there's just so much value in that. And I wouldn't be in a position to do that, to make a difference, had I not gone through the pain. But, you know, that's all in the past now. Just let me make that matter now in the future. So I totally get what you're saying entirely. It's a laudable thing that we've been able to do. It's such a privilege, really, to have been part of this anthology series, to be able to share our respective stories. Amazing. It really is. Ambassadors of hope. So what next on the agenda? What now? We have done the anthology, the launch is on the 31st. What can people look forward to? What great things are next for Charlene, Pauline?
I'm writing my second book, so that's Courage to Be Me. So I'm working through that, and I've got another book that I've started. I also want to work with women just to develop therapeutic writing skills, writing for well-being. That's something that I was doing pre-COVID. So I would really like to go back and continue with that really.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, we look forward to hearing about that in future. Shall be following you with a keen eye. Fantastic. How about you, Pauline? What's next on the agenda for you going forward?
Well, yes, right. I mean, I think it's come full circle. You know, as a child, writing was one of my first passions. I enjoyed creative writing. Throughout my career, I seem to have always had a pen and paper in hand, writing for the organization, but actual writing something that is going to be inspiring, interesting, informative, has always been in the back of my mind and in my spirit for many, many years. So this opportunity has kind of opened the door for me now, and it's given me a level of confidence to say, actually, I can actually sit down, I can actually focus on what I want to write, and I can actually produce information that is going to really support and help the community and the readers as well. So I would like to continue on this journey, this writing journey that I've now just kind of started on. So yeah, look out, watch out.
You got a taster now, and we love it.
I really have, and I've really enjoyed it. So enjoyed it, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it's good that you say that, just to kind of wind things down. You know, we can't, or I don't feel that we should leave this platform without giving a big shout out to Divine Flow Publishing, headed by the amazing Camille Daly, who has just been fantastic throughout this anthology series. You know, so Claudine Reed spearheaded the idea, collaborated with Divine Flow Publishing, spearheaded by Camille, and the two of them have just made this formidable team where they have literally held our hands and taken us from this is just an idea to it's actually now happening. It's just been incredible. It really has. And I mean, to think.
Absolutely.
I mean, to think.
I was just going to say, absolutely. I think, especially as first-time authors, and having those two amazing women, you know, Claudine and Camille, just being there, championing us and walking with us through every step of the way, it's just made it so much easier, really enjoyable. And it really gave us, you know, I thought it gave, well, certainly myself, the confidence that I could actually do this. But I think without their guidance and their support and their encouragement, you know, it may have been a lesser experience. But, you know, I really take my hat off to them, and I really thank them for blessing us with this opportunity. Really fantastic work.
Yeah, for sure. They just made it look so seamless. They really did. That's what I loved about it, and that's why for me the call was. It almost felt personal because I'd started, similar to Charlene, I'd started to write a few years ago, and I've kind of gone through stop start. Never really brought it to fruition, but you know the manuscript is there. It's just about completing it. So I kind of knew instinctively that I had to get involved with this project because that's the kind of impetus that I need to get me kickstarted and to just, you know, for me to continue creating and writing. And so I've been like a student, if you like. Yes, I've been contributing and become an author, but I've also been learning so much about the industry, the whole, you know, system behind writing, publishing, launching. It's just been phenomenal, a real eye opener, and I'm just indebted to them. I really am. And to think, I don't know if I mentioned before, to think that, you know, this Evolve Women's Ministry was something that we used to do BC before COVID, as we say, part of my my church, Icon Community Church, and we'd meet once every quarter where we just hang out as women and get a lot of spiritual fortification and cover all of the aspects as well, well-being, financial. And then of course, once the pandemic hit, we had to go online. But when it started last March, it was meant to be just 12 weeks. well, 16, 17 months later, you know, the Evolve platform is still going. And that's because there's just been so much rich content every single Saturday. This isn't once a month, guys. Every single Saturday, these ladies just bring it on. We've had some guys that have attended as well, you know, both male and female speakers. And the content has just been so rich. I have always suffered with FOMO, always fearing that if I don't attend on a Saturday, I'm missing out. And, you know, it was on one such Saturday that they announced about the anthology series. And here we are. So it just blows my mind to think that, you know, we started just chit-chatting on a Saturday to writing a book. And the anthology series was so packed with, you know, stories from 29 women. We are 3 of those 29. It couldn't be fitted into one book. It's 2 books. It's just fantastic. It really is. So yes, I mean, all that leaves me to do or to say is to thank both you, Charlene and Pauline, for coming onto my Esky channel today. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to serve you. And just to wish you all the very best on your respective journeys.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation.
Amazing. Yeah. And if your readers and viewers would like to follow you, have you got a website or social media handles, Charlene?
Yes.
Charlene Brown, info@charlenebrown.co.uk.
Okay, brilliant. I'll get the details and I'll just add it to the link below. And yourself, Pauline?
Yes, I can be contacted on Instagram, lifecoach_Pauline. I also have a website, Mcfarlaneandassociates.com.
Fabulous. Again, I will include all those details in the link below. So if people wish to follow you on your exciting journeys, which no doubt lie ahead, they'll be able to do so. So once again, thank you guys for joining us. We are looking forward to welcoming you to the launch on the 31st of July, 10 a.m. It will be great for you to come along. It's an online launch. Life these days has become so simple with Zoom. It's literally just a link that you click on and that's it. You are there. It'll be fantastic for you to come and just hear the stories, get a peek behind the scenes and get to meet the 29 all-female authors, of which Pauline, Charlene and myself are included. And of course, find out details about buying the books. That will all be circulated very shortly, so keep your eyes peeled. So once again, thank you so much for joining me, ladies. And yes, wishing you a fabulous day ahead that's left. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Simone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.